In other words, within the next decade, 25% of all jobs will be gone. The normal coders like front-enders, back-enders, even data scientists, they're all in trouble. It'd be hard to believe, but to some extent AI came from Canada, so AI is Canadian. Welcome to Scripted channel. William Topchev is here, science fiction writer. Today we are talking about artificial intelligence and how it replaces humans. But before we start, a quick reminder. This channel is about speculative science fiction, and we believe here that the world is some sort of an unfinished book that somehow got into our hands, and now we need to figure out what the story is about, what happened in the previous chapters, and what we can hopefully what we can expect to see in the next page. So keep in mind, everything is speculative and nothing should be taken seriously. Artificial intelligence comes in waves, extinction waves. The first wave was about sensors. For many decades, programmers and coders were fascinated about the idea of replicating the neural networks, the structure of the brain of almost every organism on this planet. So they have tried many different approaches, many different things. Most of them failed, but one that actually turned out to be very promising was something called convolutional neural network. And it became a really good imitation of how neurons work in the brain. Overall, it was promising and showed good results, but this technology was complex and not very user-friendly. So only deep nerds like these guys could understand and use it. By the way, the guy in the middle is the one who did probably more than anybody in making convolutional neural networks real. His name is Geoffrey Hinton, and back then he was a professor at the University of Toronto. So it may be hard to believe, but to some extent AI came from Canada, so AI is Canadian. So again, first convolutional neural networks, they were very complex. And then in 2011, Google Brain has developed the first prototype of TensorFlow. TensorFlow is a system that effectively is basically a Lego constructor that could be used by almost anybody to build convolutional neural networks. And now a third grader could build a replica of a human brain in his garage. After it was made so easy to use, people started experimenting with this in many different applications, and very soon it was discovered that this technology could recognize objects such as pictures or sounds. In other words, for the first time, machines could independently and accurately understand what is going on around them. So machines got ears and eyes, sensors. And guess what? Machines immediately started replacing jobs that required sensors, ears and eyes. And this is how the first AI extinction wave started, the sensor wave. Let's take drivers, for example. They have become the sensors wave first victim. Well, if we look at what drivers do, what the driving is about, this is basically receiving an external signal through eyes or ears and then reacting, turning left or right, accelerating or stopping. And that's exactly what those first primitive AI sensors were capable of. You can already get a driverless cab in LA, Atlanta, Austin, and San Francisco, and many other cities. So it is pretty clear that this technology is already at least at par with human drivers. But then the question is, do human drivers have a future, have a chance? So let's take a look at numbers. The cost of a human driver is about $15 per hour. The cost of an AI driver is approximately zero. So it is pretty clear that very soon the idea of a human driver will become just ridiculous. So drivers are about to disappear, cab drivers, truck drivers. But AI obviously doesn't stop at replacing drivers. So who else? To figure that out, we need to see what other jobs are actually using sensors, human eyes and ears. Well, here are just a few candidates, the most obvious victims. The first is factory workers. This is 100% sensor work. Then also call center operators, secretaries, assistants, and all sorts of office workers. Effectively, what they do is they use sensors to process external information and then react, do some simple actions. And AI is already much more efficient doing that. So the first wave, the sensor wave, expected to make redundant 20 to 30 million jobs in the US alone. That is roughly 15% of the total workforce, which is a lot. But this is just the beginning, because the second wave is coming. So the second wave, it has started in a hot summer day of June 12, 2017. One of the Google Brain research teams published an article called "Attention is All You Need." They introduced a new architecture for neural networks, transformers, they called it. Initially, transformers thought to be just a minor improvement, a trifle thing. And Google Brain itself, they didn't really think that this research was of any importance, just one of many hundreds of articles they publish every year. Yet this tiny, obscure article, this 10 pages, changed the world completely. Yes, you guessed it right. That article has become the foundation of ChatGPT. By the way, the letter T in ChatGPT stands for transformers. So what's so special about these transformers? Well, as we remember, convolutional neural networks gave AI sensors, the ability to see and hear. The transformers neural network gave AI something equally important, if not more important: memory. And not just the library or archive type of memory, no, a human-like memory that made AI capable of true learning. So the second wave is a memory wave, and it will replace jobs that rely on memorization. To see how this works, let's take a look at lawyers. To become a lawyer, you need to spend many years in a law school and then to work like a slave with a big law firm, learning all the intricacies of the legal systems and memorizing endless cases. AI can already do that in seconds. And even the first primitive prototypes are already better than an average lawyer, well, at least in some tasks. So lawyers have no future, it is pretty clear. Who else will be washed into the oblivion by the second wave? Well, for example, almost every job related to finance, auditors, tax advisors, accountants, machines are making them obsolete. Investment banking is also not an exception, because machines are really good, as we know already, at making investment decks. So who else? Well, unfortunately, doctors, especially those who consult patients like GPs and this type of similar jobs. These are all memory-related professions, and this is why doctors had to spend 7 to 10 years before they could even see the patient. So they had so much to learn and memorize, and this is not needed anymore. So who else? Well, surprisingly, coders and programmers. They're all in the same boat, about to be crushed by the memory wave. Because it turns out that coding as a profession is just another form of memorization or learning. Well, the coders from Google Brain, they're probably safe, so I'm not really worried about them. But the normal coders like front-enders, back-enders, even data scientists, they're all in trouble. And very soon, coding will no longer be a human profession. You don't need to be a science fiction writer to see that coming. By the way, since we're talking about the coders, we are about to cross the line where machines will be programmed by machines. Oh, I actually forgot to mention one profession that is about to be obsolete. It's writers. Writers, including speculative science fiction, we are all obsolete too. So, how many jobs will disappear? A rough estimate tells us that the sensor wave will make redundant approximately 15% of jobs. Then the second wave, the memory wave, will eliminate another 10% of jobs. In other words, within the next decade, 25% of all jobs will be gone. So quite a grim picture, huh? Well, yes, indeed. But how the future will look like? Will there be any professions, any jobs that still have actual future? We will talk about it in the next video. Just follow the link. Thanks for being with Scripted channel. If you have a question or you think that we missed something important, please leave a comment. And remember, it is all speculative. Nothing should be taken seriously. See you on the other side.